Buonasera, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dirty, Dusty Records. On this episode, we're going to Europe. We're getting Mediterranean. This is the Italian episode. We're going to be talking about records from Italy, specifically records from the late 60s, early 70s, Italian composers, Italian libraries, Italian jazz, Italian funk, Italian psych. Italian. So, what makes Italy so special? Italy had a brilliant set of composers. It's like the Queensbridge projects of Europe. Just a bunch of talent from this little pocket. This is a genre that I got into only the last couple years. Mostly because before that it just seemed so daunting. And honestly, it is pretty daunting. A lot of the Italian records that I've become familiar with are libraries. And these aren't widely distributed libraries. These are very small pressings of 500, maybe pressings of 200. Why do I like Italian records of the 60s and 70s? Well, it's so dramatic. There's a lot of strings. There's psychedelic elements that kind of take out like the incense and peppermint kind of singing and just make it like something that I kind of take more seriously. I can't see partying and being dumb to this music. I can see like making intense stares. Let's begin. First up is Alessandroni's Butterfly album. This is a record that came out on Cometa Edizioni Musicali, a music library label. Alessandroni was a childhood friend of Ennio Morricone. They were both musicians and grew up together, and when Morricone really hit his swing, he made sure that he had Alessandroni alongside him. Alessandroni added the whistles that you are familiar with on such classic spaghetti westerns like Fistful of Dollars, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, for a few dollars more. It's not bang your head funky, it's not bop jazzy, it's not psychedelic dropout LSD crazy, but it has elements of all those things, and it plays it in its own Italian pasta and tomato sauce kind of way. The next album I'll be showing you guys is Kolevoche on the Conroy Eurobeat label. Conroy Eurobeat is a UK label that took Italian libraries and repackaged them for the British crowd. It translates loosely to Follow the Voice, and it is a very kind of bossa, scat, la 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 sounding kind of album, very light and airy, but still with that very Italian undercurrent that's slightly psychedelic, that's got a little bit of a beat to it, a Eurobeat if you will. There's lots of wordless voices just kind of doing their da-da-da-da all across this. Next record that I'm going to show you is another Alessandroni record, Sangue de Sibiro, also known as Bloody Avenger. In 1976, Alessandroni was commissioned to do the soundtrack to a film set in Philadelphia, PA. A gritty American cop/blaxploitation film in which he took the influences of blaxploitation music and threw it in. Is this even a good movie? I don't know. This movie probably sucks. There's a reason I probably haven't heard about it. But the music, once I heard it, once I found a sample of it, anything but sucks. It was great. Imagine all those kind of dramatic, strong sounds that Italian composers are known for, mixed in with the kind of sounds that Isaac Hayes was doing for Shaft and that Curtis Mayfield was doing for Superfly, and you have an idea of what this record is like. next album I will be talking about is Rino De Filippi's Oriente Oggi. Rino De Filippi was one of those artists kind of in the same category as Alessandroni and Bruno Nicolai, where he just composed and composed till his heart's content. Composed so much that he ended up composing under a myriad of names. Rino De Filippi is actually not even his real name. His real name is Oronzo De Filippi. My favorite track on this album is Oriente Contemplevo. It sounds like you're making a drug run while driving down the streets of downtown Tokyo real slow with the reflection going over your windshield, a la like a 90s Hype Williams Puff Daddy video. It's beautiful, it's dark, it's sleazy, it's perfect. This album here is Trade to Union by Giorgio Carnini. Giorgio Carnini was a pianist who went down to South America, specifically to Argentina, became just a hardcore ringer in the whole music scene of Argentina, came back to Italy flexing his new skills, his experience, and really came hard into it. By the time he reached the late 70s, he was able to record this album and show off his love of classical and soundtracky library sounds and mix it all together. There are songs on it like Sans Issue, Pas Mahler, Canon. You'll notice a lot of these things have classical style names to them. That's because this has a lot of nods to classical music within it. This next album is Tower of Power on the Cometa Edición Musicale label. Again, this is a limited 500 press only album. It was recorded in 1976, but not released until several years back, 2015, 2016. This album was recorded during the same sessions as a very famous and really highly desirable session that became known as Freedom Power. This is basically the additional tracks from that day. Fucking bellissimo. There is flutes underladen by crazy pedals, psychedelic jazz, funk prog, all just these guys jamming, just having fun while the tapes are playing. That's all the time we have today. I was happy to show you these 6 albums. I hope to show you some more in the future. Please leave comments. Let me know what you did like and didn't like about this. It matters a lot. Also, please subscribe. Arrivederci. Sugar pie, honey bunch. You know that I love you. The next album I will be talking about is Rino De Filippi's Oriente Oggi.